I got to do parts work today, which is something that I had been excited about doing for a long time. So I just thought I would share kind of what we did and how it went. And I don't think I necessarily mean IFS. I don't really know what modality is being used other than it was parts work. We worked with two parts. So one was my 11-year-old self, and then the other was current adult me. To start, he just had me pick a symbol for 11-year-old me, and I remained adult me in my own body. So he had me pick a symbol of 11-year-old me, and then asked me where I see it in relation to myself, and had me put it kind of in that physical location, which was in my vision but really far away and up to one side. He asked me if that version of me is facing away from me or towards me. It was facing towards me. And then he asked me how I am in relation to it, is adult me facing towards it, facing away from it, and so I had it not completely with my back to it, but kind of almost. So he asked if I was willing to try to turn towards this, the object, the symbol of me, and we talked about how I was physically and emotionally feeling in response to turning towards it. We talked about my kind of beliefs and feelings towards that part of me. And then we got into why I feel that way towards that part of me, which I think I'll do a second video, because there's kind of a trauma dump story related to that I think I'll do in another video. But so we got into a little bit of the story of what really was going on for me at that time in my life, and how that made me feel about myself at the time, and also how I feel about that part of me now because of that. And through that, we were able to kind of pick out what in there is kind of unfair or doesn't really align with how I would actually see my 11-year-old self now. I really, really hated myself at 11, and so even though I would never as an adult hate an 11-year-old now, because I hated myself then, I have struggled with disliking that part of myself even as an adult, and really struggling with empathizing with myself during that time, or in relation to any traumas that I had at that age. So we talked through some of that and kind of softened some of those negative feelings towards that part. And then he had me pick a symbol for adult me, and then tried to get me to embody 11-year-old me and interact with adult me. So this is adult me, or was. And then kind of while trying to embody that 11-year-old part, asked me how I feel about adult me, where adult me is in relation to 11-year-old me, which was really interesting to kind of see the contrast between how adult me feels about 11-year-old me versus how 11-year-old me feels about adult me. At some points was trying to have me talk to 11-year-old me and I kept kind of talking to him about myself rather than directly engaging myself. And also, instead of saying you when talking to 11-year-old me, I would say she. Which she pointed out is that there's distance there, that's kind of a little bit avoidant. So it was really interesting to see, and I had much less of a hard time doing that when embodying 11-year-old me and talking to adult me. like that like fear and like hesitation about like more directly confronting or more directly engaging wasn't there, which was really interesting to me. And like a lot of what we talked about like wasn't completely new to me by any means, but at the same time it feels like stuff has resonated in a new way, if that makes sense. Like I have that experience fairly often in therapy where it's like I didn't like learn anything new about myself exactly, but it's like I've gained clarity even though there isn't like a specific new piece of information that I've gained. But anyway, one of the big things that I've known for a long time, but that somehow feels like it's a little bit clearer or makes more sense somehow, is that I really like kind of scapegoat the adolescent version of myself. And that is why I dislike that version of me. And that isn't really my value. That is what I thought I had to reject big pieces of myself as like a preteen and young teen in order to be able to just kind of get by in my family at the time. And I don't believe in that at all. I don't think that, like, my logical brain, like, there wasn't anything, like, actually wrong with me. I wasn't, like, a bad person or anything. And I think in some pretty significant ways, I knew some really important truths at the time that just didn't fit the family picture at the time. But I was right. And because it didn't fit the family narrative, I had to really try to carve that piece of me out of myself. And I don't actually want to do that. But that is kind of the pattern that I took on and that I have continued, is to kind of join my family in rejecting that part of myself. I don't want to do that anymore. Which is scary because I think a big part of it is that that part of me holds my really emotional self. And I think really afraid of having emotions, especially ones that aren't like really well controlled and like intellectualized and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited that we got to do some parts work. I find it so interesting, even though it's a little weird.